There are several ways of obtaining citizenship of a particular country. And what you just read is the citizenship by birth.
Right.
If you were born to a Liberian parent, that is one of your parents being a Liberian,
right,
you enjoy Liberian citizenship by virtue of that fact up to age 18.
Right.
When you are up to age 18, because according to our constitution, when you are age 18 and above, you are regarded as an adult.
Right, you can make decisions
you
of
can make
your
decisions
own.
of your own. So there and then you can decide whether you will still want to be a Liberian.
But it didn't say that in the constitution.
No, but if you read that, that's what it tells you. You enjoy the citizenship.
It says provided that provided that any such person shall, upon reaching maturity, renounce. So you see what it said? Yeah. Upon reaching maturity, you have to renounce that to still be a Liberian citizen.
Upon what it is telling you that upon maturity,
right?
Upon maturity, that is 18 and above, you shall upon that time renounce,
right,
whatever citizenship you don't want to enjoy,
right? But if you and from this is like, if you do not renounce that, that means you cease to be a Liberian.
Oh yeah, after 18.
So after 18. Yeah. But how do I renounce my citizenship?
Yeah, you have to do that with the immigration.
Which in Liberia is that the process?
Yes, that is
okay.
it.
So what do you
go
do?
To immigration.
Okay.
You go and state that you were born of a Liberian parent. You are 18 and above.
Right.
And you want to renounce whatever citizenship that you had and want to be a Liberian.
Okay.
Because from age 1 to 18, you are being considered a Liberian.
Okay.
When you get
which we have already covered that. Once you mature, then you can decide that.
Other than that, after age 18, if you are detected to be a person residing in Liberia of a half parent and have not gone through the formality, you'll be regarded as an alien.
Okay.
That's the law.
Right. So that's the law, but I understand the law. But as we were saying, now that we have so many Liberians who left Liberia involuntarily because of our civil war, and there is a law in a country, who makes the law? The people of the country. So why can the very people of the country be willing to bring back their brothers and sisters from exile so they can come and feel like they are part of a country, and so they can come and feel like they're Liberians once again? Because it's almost like we are alienated from Liberia. And if you really look at the statistic of the support that go to Liberia, Liberians out of Liberia are supporting the country to a greater extent than any other foreigners anywhere in the world and supporting their people back home. But then we feel alienated because our brothers and sisters are saying, well, we can enjoy your money you can send from abroad, but when you won't come back, no room for you because you're too learned now. And even though we are coming back with education to help our country. And I get the argument that some people leave from here, go to Liberia, get in government and steal government money and come back to America and reside here and and no remorse. I get that, but that's everywhere. So because of the one or two people, you can stop the few Liberians who have the country at heart. And secondly, you have Liberians who are bona fide Liberians who were born, raised, who lived and never left the country. They are stealing too. So the argument shouldn't necessarily be, well, when they come, we will be impoverished. When they come, we will be this. But it's when they come, we'll work together. And the ones who are even out of the country, is our plea too. When they go, they treat the people like they're people and they assimilate and they learn from each other. And I've had personal experience with people leaving America, leaving abroad, going to Liberia and treating the people like nobody. And I have a problem with that. So the thing is, as much as we are pleading or as much as we are talking about dual citizenship, there are two sides of the coin, and I'm the devil's advocate. I will not sit here and say, oh yes, it's the case and that's what it should be, and if there's not the way, then there's no way out. But the argument in Liberia, I'm for. I can see where they're coming from, and the argument out of Liberia, I'm for. I can see where they're coming from. So as Liberians, how can we come together and try to meet each other at one place? That's the next question. Like, what can we do to remedy? What can we do to make this, possible? To say, okay, y'all can be citizens, but there's such and such you have to meet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You just struck a point, and I want to agree with you. It's a two-way street.
Right.
Okay. When you talk of citizenship, there are those critical questions you need to ask yourself.
Right.
What is the essence of obtaining the citizenship of a particular country.
Right.
You do so by that you have demonstrated your loyalty for that country.
Right.
Good. If we are to really have a referendum to change that clause of the Constitution, I will support doing so with some conditions.
Right.
What are those conditions? Yes, since you serve in a dual capacity, you cannot be in appointed positions in government.
Okay.
Since you serve in dual capacity, you cannot be our president. You understand?
Which is reasonable.
Good.
Well,
But
hold on one second. With not being our president is reasonable because you have loyalty somewhere else,
Yeah.
and that loyalty can be shook, like it can be twisted and turned.
true.
And you can be in a position where should something happen between America and Liberia, who are you for? Is questioned. Should something happen between Liberia and Iraq, who are you for?
Yeah.
Is questioned.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being
Appointed
in
positions.
government,
Appointed
I have a
positions.
problem with it.
You
Just
have
being
a problem, but it still also makes sense because once you are having a dual citizenship,
Right.
and you are appointed in government, this is what's going to happen, and that's what has been happening.
Uh-huh.
Most of these kind of people have their families here in whatever country they part of the country whose citizenship they assumed in the second.
Rem,
They remit so much to keep the families up here.
Okay.
And as a result, you find out the loyalty is very tested. They don't care much about devoting their time and wanting to see their country improve. They rather take so much from a country that is developing and give to a developed country. So that is why we are skeptical about people in appointed positions. There are other ways.
Yeah, but what about the very Liberians who are in that country, who are 100% Liberian, who were born and raised there, who take the money out of the country and take it out elsewhere?
Yeah, this is it. If the person is 100% Liberian and doesn't enjoy any citizenship, we can deal with him in accordance with our laws.
Okay, so why can we make laws to deal with the people who are
with a dual citizenship?
Right.
But this is what we're saying, because I'll give you a case of few persons. Like, for example, an Ellen Cookram, a woman who went there, you know, with the American citizenship and a Liberian citizenship as well and worked. And then there was this issue of corruption, even though it's an allegation. But then she could not be prosecuted by the Liberian government because she enjoys the American citizenship.
So did the American citizenship give her the, what is it called, amenity to say, well, since she's American, she can be persecuted? Because Americans will go after
government.
Because the Americans will go after people.
Their own.
Right.
Not by the Liberian government.
Even if you're not American and you committed a crime in this country, Americans will go after you.
No, if you are an American, that's what I want you to understand. If you commit a crime, America deals with you as a citizen.
But if you're not an American and you committed a crime in America, America is coming after you too.
America will come after you on the basis of the agreement of your country you in or whatever.
So why can America establish this kind of system
people
too?
Liberia. America doesn't go after them in Liberia. But what I mean, if you are an American and you commit any offense within or outside America, America deals with you as a citizen.
Yeah, but why can Liberia put in place system where that they will be open to have people who will be dual citizens to be a part of government, but there are things you put in place. That's what a country does.
That's what we're saying. It's
okay,
a process.
but not
it's
to.
A process, and these kind of discussions are healthy discussions
Right.
that are aimed at making that particular adjustment in our constitution. That is what some of us say.
Right.
Because I can understand. For an example, I have known you to be a Liberian,
Right.
whose both parents are Liberians,
Right.
but you are privileged to come to
Well,
America.
half and half.
And then you want to...
Sierra Leone and Liberian.
Oh, come on.
Right.
Let's look at this way. When I say you...
Right, I know what you mean.
It's just an analogy.
Right.
So you then come to America and there's some American...
Yeah, I was just clarifying because people who know, they will say, oh, they get out.
Yeah.
You know?
Then you go back to Liberia, and then people will say to you that you're not a Liberian.
Right.
Take for an example...
And it's very hurtful, frankly, because the people in Liberia, they don't understand. Some of us, we live in America. We've been flirting with assimilating into the American system. I've been here for almost 11 years. I still have my Liberian accent as raw as it comes. And that's the reason, because I want to have my Liberian identity. But when I go to Liberia, people look at me like, oh, no, you're not Liberian because now you're an American. And that part of it, I have problem with it, to say, okay, if you were in America and you did this, now you can come back to Liberia and be that. Or now you can go to... Many Liberians are out here, and that's the reason why when they say, you come back home, people are like, come back home to what? When our people don't even consider us Liberians. So what are we coming back home to? So it's very hurtful, because it's like you feel like something that it wasn't your fault. You left Liberia. It wasn't our fault that we left Liberia. Involuntarily. We wandered the world.
Yeah, you are today being a victim of circumstances.
Yes. So we wandered the world. We came to America. We made use of ourselves. We went to school. We want to come back to Liberia, but because of a system and because of few people, sorry to say, who are almost afraid, inferior, and not knowing that they too have something over us. Because you've been in the country for that long. You may not have the academic part of knowledge, but you have more tangible knowledge when it comes to the in and out of the country. So why should you feel like somebody who's coming to your system with applied knowledge is more and superior than you who've been in the system, who can got so much more to teach the person that's coming in?
So let me say, conclude by saying, you heard me challenge the EULA leadership that was elected. I spoke at its convention. And my message to EULA was that EULA is the oldest and biggest Liberian organization in America. There is a need to step up your game.
Right.
You need to endeavor to mitigate the gap between the diaspora Liberians and the home-based Liberians. Let it not be just an election that brings people to a state,
and people
to enrich themselves.
Yes, and people to a place where they can just go to a yearly conference and have cocoa party and drink liquor. And because I asked them the very question, what are you doing for Liberia? Not just because they were like advocate this, advocate that, but for the lay Liberian man, advocacy is not something I can touch and see. So that's a very good point there.
So what you need to do is to ensure that you have a delegation that visits Liberia at least twice a year. You can fund the resources for about 2-3 persons on your behalf to go and push this debate. You issue a press statement, you call on the national legislature. We are going to give it a support because our brothers and sisters are here, have their siblings back home, they have their relatives back home.
And we are pumping a lot of money into the system.
Beautiful. You know, when people craft laws, they envisage, they foretell. The crafters of laws are people who look at, they preempt the future. The revised edition of the 1986 Constitution, the People Redemption Council guys that took power by way of the gun, they were basically natives. And their mindset was, they had a kind of an inferiority complex about the quote-unquote Congo hegemony. So most of those that were in America at the time, people that came to America at the time, were basically people from that background. And they were like, look, let us prevent these guys from coming from over there and taking over us again. And if you look at it realistically today, you have more.
You see, you're hitting the point right now. You're hitting the point now.
You're having more native Liberians in America today than you had
back then.
So,
seeing people now won't come back, but they created a law that is prohibiting them.
That is hunting them. You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So what we can do to really fix this thing is we can file a petition to the national legislature, asking them to call for a referendum. And it is at the referendum that the Liberian people can speak to change this law, because this very law is affecting us.
But not to call you up because we don't have enough time, but everything we've said, that's the reason for having these conversations, as you said. And but on the other token, I just want to commend you and your organization in Liberia for everything you are doing, because it's one thing to just sit around and just talk, but it's another thing to sit around and talk meaningful things and engage people meaningfully, where you can actually have the youth come and have a place to come to talk, learn from the older ones. The older one can learn from the younger ones, and you guys are doing so well with that. And the reason why Liberia needs a group like yours is, instead of people just being angered and going in the forest and trying to come together and do all the wrong things, but they have a place that they can fight another kind of war that is more of the mind, because you're changing the mind of the people. And so thank you for everything you're doing in Liberia. But tell your people then the BB English, they need to slow down small. So the lay people, the cultural people, like, we can understand what you're saying sometimes. But other than that, you're doing a fabulous job. job.
And it interests me to have encountered you. I'm just happy that my stay here has opened my eyes to an awful lot of things.
Okay.
We are eager to see our people returning home happily and safe with us. We just hope we can bring an end to this.
Right.
Yeah.
And meet at a common ground.
Very good.
All right.
Trust me, we're going to push that.
All right. And it was really nice talking to you again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.